morning and welcome. This is episode 22 of the 4x3 podcast. What a beautiful, sunny and calm morning it is. I'm not sure of the weather at the moment. I don't know what it's going to be. I do like it when for years I haven't really looked at the weather myself, but my partner usually does that sort of thing. And it becomes obsessive. But for me, I try to just play it by ear and enjoy the surroundings and never know what I'm getting every single day of the week. And right now I am just pottering around this very smelly shed, as I do sometimes. One of the things I think I've mentioned before is just this idea that, well, we're all animals, right? And I'm not trying to get comedic or anything like that, but we're all animals, and supposedly humans eat animals as their source of food, right? On a daily basis, if not, once a week or every 3 days. I don't know what people eat anymore. But if we're all considered animals, wouldn't it be thought-provoking to suggest that if we have hot showers, for example, and I mean, we're not considered meat or anything like that, but we would have, what would be considered meat underneath us, so we would be prone to bruising, and we would be prone to, I guess bruising is the right word for me. So over a long period of time, I would suggest, as an opinion of course, that if we have hot showers, we would be, over a course of our lifetime, making ourselves into a slow roast. And therefore, everything we do on a daily basis, that if you did to an animal, like, when you're making meat or slicing up beef or whatever you do, wouldn't that be, an easy way to, over a long period of time, give yourself cancer? If that is to assume that cancer would be the thing where you cook your meat as a roast, and turn it into this dark thing that tastes delicious. Although I don't believe much of certain things anymore, I can agree that if, let's say you spend too much time in the sun over the course of your lifetime, and you have hot showers over the course of your lifetime, and you do certain things in your life that animals shouldn't do. And by being out in the sun, I don't literally mean not being out at all and being enclosed in a box for the rest of your life. I mean, while there is no trees or a forest around you, and if you live in the suburbs, there's definitely just houses that surround you. And so what I mean is in an open area, being exposed to the sun all the time is probably not good for anyone. So I was just thinking that over the course of time, you're probably slow roasting yourself like you are some sort of meat, because that's what happens when you shove it in the oven. And I just wonder if it would have the same effect if over a short period of time you're exposed to 250 degrees or whatever. You would obviously roast and die and whatnot, but over the course of a lifetime, if you got the shower on to 30 degrees, I'm sure that you're slow roasting yourself, I guess. I think I've mentioned that before in the past. But I don't know. it sounds logical, but who knows. So I woke up this morning and, well, I've been setting my alarms for 4:30 and then trying to test it out so then I can slowly decrease the alarm and then get up earlier. But what I find when I get the alarm set to 4:30 is that I give myself half an hour to get out of bed, so I get up at 5. But lately, I've been getting up later and later, and it's just like making everything so overtired, or making me overtired rather. And so this morning I set the alarm for 3:30. I had downloaded some sort of podcast that I knew I would never listen to in my entire life because it's catered to people that just are brain dead, basically, can't think for themselves. So I tried one of those self-help podcast bullshit things, and it was so over the top. It was overbearing? But I had that next to my ear because I couldn't find anything that I wanted to listen to. Anyway, so I had that, and apparently I was in bed for an hour. I thought it was half an hour, but it ended up being that I got out of bed at 4:30 anyway. And I got up and actually took the dog for sort of a decent walk around the block, which for me, around the block is up this long road, down this dirt road, past the cemetery, and then through a reserve, and then I make my destination. But yeah, I might actually describe this podcast was just very over the top, and they have millions of views, but it's very it seems so fake, extremely fake, and I just said to myself, I'm going to download it anyway, because I know I'm not going to enjoy it, but if I can actually get through something I don't like for once, I might actually become a better person somehow. No, that's not really. I probably will never listen to that garbage again, but I can't describe it really. They seem so calming, but they seem like they draw a certain audience in, and I've learned to not be so trapped into things anymore. I used to listen to a lot of stuff, and I do still listen to a lot of stuff, but when I do listen to a lot of things, a lot of podcasts rather, they end up bringing in information that is just things that I've tried to push out in the past, and so they might be avid news watchers or media watchers or television watchers or whatever you might say, or follow certain groups of people, but then they go from talking about things that are just normal and positive and relaxing and entertaining and basic, and then they add all this other stuff, and it just creates problems. I've probably talked about this before, but I used to listen to Joe Rogan. Fucking hell, I hate that name. I used to listen to that, and they used to be great, entertaining, and very positive and enjoyable. And then it becomes this very political thing that tries to draw in two sides of the table, and tries to please everyone on both sides, if you take a left and right, or just people who are different opinions, obviously. It just, I don't know, tries to fuck with both sides of the playing field, I guess. And whereas in the past it would be entertaining for the most part, just shit talking amongst the people, and then they talk about hunting and things that I got into basically from that podcast, and talked about good health and things like that. And then it's just a podcast that everyone's into, and it's just overbearing and just something I can't listen to anymore, because it seems like they're trying to make a statement for advertisers, and they're just trying to I don't know, it just seems a little bit partly fake, but not too fake. And certain people that used to be on there, well, probably still go on there, they used to be more open about things, and now they're just like, they've got to keep their mouth shut a bit more. And the claims are that the podcast isn't like that anymore, but whatever. And I don't believe in a lot of the stuff anymore anyway. Like, when it comes to the good health side of things, I mean, most of these people aren't just drinking water and going about their day. We've always got to have something else in our life so that we can stop, partaking in other things. And I probably go on about this a lot, but realistically, we only need to have a few sips of water in the day, and probably not eat so much food, or the food is spread out over the course of the day, and it's very small, bite-sized portions of anything, and not looking at it as like a meal. So, like, for example, like, if an animal is only eating bugs and seeds and fruits and bits of this and bits of that, well, that's probably what we're supposed to do as well, just little tiny pieces of everything over the course of the day. And the other thing too, like, a lot of people's I might be aiming in the dark here when I speak, but I'd say only because I'm like this, and I've been like this for probably my whole life. My shits are probably like, I don't know, sometimes they're like solid, and then sometimes they're like really sloppy and just like fucking disgusting. And I really want to do like it'd be too hard because I haven't successfully done this yet, but I really want to do like a video where I present some sort of challenge to just have, like, for myself and anyone else, to just eat nothing but like greens and seeds, greens, that is, garden salads and things like that, and seeds and nuts and basic things, just to see what my poops would be like after, well, basically it would work like this. I would have to do a complete fast. Oh god, yeah, I would have to do a complete fast where I would have to pretty much get rid of a lot of stuff that was in me before, and probably get cleaned out and things like that, although that's another health thing that's just like, whatever. But get cleaned out, and then I don't think anyone else would do the challenge, but okay. Get rid of all the stuff inside, and then pretty much start fresh, and basically do that challenge over a course of like a month, and then pretty much see what my poops would be like, if I'd poop more or if I'd poop less. And I don't know if I'd necessarily include nuts in that, but because nuts, I think they just they come right out of you, and then, I don't know, I think they help shit a little bit. And they might cause some of those problems, but I don't know. But yeah, it would be interesting if I just poop out like little rabbit pellets or anything like that. I think some couple of people that I've watched before reckon they've pooped out little rabbit pellets just from eating, you know, basic foods. But I mean, I've got so many little doco ideas, and I did have a camera designed for that, and pretty much I broke the fuck out of it, which I think I've mentioned before, basically because I bought it second hand, the lens was playing up, and then I purchased another lens, which was not an expensive one, not brand new or anything like that. It was used and as is and whatnot. And I tried to pull apart the thing, and obviously I broke something. And every time I try to pull something apart that I'm not sure about, it's always a screw that just won't come out, or a screw that I've missed, and I've just been so impatient, and I've just broken it. And that, pure and simple, like, it happens with a lot of things, but at the same time I can never find my tools that I need to actually pull them apart. So that's where the impatience comes from, where yeah, I don't have the tool, but well. And that was a decent camera, but it's just too bulky as well. I mean, the only issue is I can't justify paying for a small handycam with good quality, because it's just so expensive. And like, I don't know, it would be fun, but there's a fine line between having it look like a documentary and having it look like a little home video, but or like a found footage type thing. And I wouldn't mind getting a camera that I could do stuff like that with, but I always get too many cameras but at the end of the day, and it's just a cost that I don't like forking out anymore. But it is a hobby that I've been obsessed with before so many times. Not too sure what I'm going to get up to today, but I got to try and increase my what's it called, cardiovascular or whatever the fuck it's called, my movement, and do some more stuff. I haven't really used my what's it called, saws and hardware equipment for a short period of time, which is a bit odd, and it might actually line up with the fact that my car's not working. So therefore, I don't know how I would explain that one. Like, realistically, like, the more I go out, the more I want to build stuff in the shed. I don't know. And the less I'm here, the less I want to actually do that. But I fucking don't know how. I don't know the correlation between it, or how it relates. I don't know. Fucking hell. It's like really pretty bad in here. It's just a shed that came with this other house, which we quote unquote minding, which is, not actually what's happening, but anyway. Now I'm just wandering around the yard right now. I've got this giant patch of agave, and it needs to be dealt with, and I don't know if I want to actually have that challenge. But one of the reasons is because, like, it looks very impressive, but if I get rid of it, it's just going to be like, am I going to miss it? But at the same time, it's invasive in this area, and it would be quite nice to actually landscape, this little area. I might, because like in this spot I'm in right now, there's a lot of shade, so in theory I'm trying to make it into like a tropical zone, so I can have like a tropical desert. And so far one thing's working in the yard here, but and something else that's working too, which is great to see, is one of the trees, I don't know what it's called, the I don't know what it's called tree has actually seeded some little trees which are located next to a gum tree, under a gum tree rather. So I don't know how that's going to pan out, whether I need to relocate those freshly grown trees. It would be nice to actually, spread out seeds. And the one thing that actually bothers me the most about gardening and accumulating seeds and things like that is the amount of times you actually, when you get into it, you're actually getting ripped off in reality. Now, although home growers aren't willing to give away all their seeds in the world, I know that to be true, but if you have an abundance of seeds, it's going to help you more than if you have a handful of seeds. And this is why there are a lot of people who are always having to repurchase these seeds all the time, constantly, because there's a lot of failures before there is success. And if for those 2 trees that got planted, didn't get planted, for those 2 trees that actually sowed themselves up, there's going to have been probably hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of seeds over, a course of years probably, for a couple of trees to actually grow. And I've noticed at this property, we have a wattle tree that drops its seeds every year, but out of the 4 years I have lived in the region, I've only had one reseed or resow, and that's dead and gone, because I don't know, I think that just succumbed to neglect, right? But I didn't know what to do with it. I was going to dig it out because it was quite literally under the tree, and it's pretty difficult because I don't know if I throw them out into the open field, they're just going to burn into a dust or whatever the fuck, or if it's actually going to grow, because it seems like the seeds have come up under shady spots. So I'm not 100% sure whether or not it would be effective. And every year I find myself actually trying to seed things in pots, and I don't like it. It doesn't work out for me at all. There's always something taking pieces from it. I mean, obviously that would happen on the ground, but realistically, this year I did a lot of pots, more than 20 I would say, and I haven't really seen any success in them. I might think that because maybe the soil dried out a little bit. The potting mix, I always end up using cheap potting mix, but at the end of the day, like, the costs are fucking higher whenever I have to pay for the organic stuff. And I said to myself a short while ago I was going to stop doing that, and apparently, according to me, no, I'm not going to stop doing that, am I? But yeah, so right now I'm just trying to, for the first time in a long time, build up the soil. I am having a major problem at the other property with wallabies, so I'm going to, just this morning I thought about it, I'm going to actually probably get some barbed wire and do the perimeter, I reckon. I mean, it'd be a cost, but I mean, I think it will deter them a little bit. I did have a method that I've been using, but I can't get the resources together without paying an exorbitant amount of money. Oh, hey, look at this. Well, you can't see it, but either that's a succulent or one of those native berry plants. That's pretty cool. I always think they're native berry plants, but we'll find out. Most of the soil here is pretty shit. With the one we're minding at the moment, so many cracks in the earth I can see through the holes, and that's probably due to all the excessive mowing every fucking week that these people did, probably. Drying it out even further. I didn't have that problem at our property, where don't mow at all. At best I just rake and use cutters or something, sometimes I've used a scythe or scythe or whatever you call it, but mostly just left it alone because it didn't grow that big anyway, so it wasn't too much of a problem, and it isn't still much of a problem. And I'm probably gonna mostly start working with the land anyway, pretty much to the point where I try to neglect it so then I can grow and establish some sort of ecosystem, which is very impossible out here because it's I don't know, there's always something going wrong, or something's always off. Whenever there's success, there's always failure in that success, and it's pretty bad, to be honest. But one step at a time, and I'll probably have an alright garden by the end. I mean, I've pushed through a lot of stuff before, and yeah, I mean, that's just it. You gotta push through all this crap to get to something good, I guess. I've got a, realistically, fucking arm. But most of my gardening now has to be like permanent trees and plants, and slowly getting to that point. And the vegetable side of things will just come into play during the seasons. So rather than the vegetable side of thing being the main course in my gardening, it's going to be secondary, because obviously it's not going to come back every year, which makes it in part redundant. Other than maybe like lettuces and things, but I mean, at the end of the day, every plant should drop seeds and then start anew, right? So in reality, it's not really that redundant. It just, agriculture makes it seem redundant because like they have to resow all the time. So it's not like an ecosystem where the birds take the seeds and poop them out and it regrows, and it's healthy and everything's what do you call it? Moist. Composted down. There's another word for it. The soil is just like rich in mineral content, and it's healthy and things like that. There's none of that. And I don't think with most gardeners and gardening promoters, I don't think they really concentrate on anything more than agricultural gardening, which is obviously destructive as fuck. But yeah, it's an okay day for the minute, but it always, turns into something not so great. Oof. And I think it's going to, well, it started off alright, but I think it's going to be cloudy. I mean, I don't know, but I see